Beidon trying to counteract the pick that we get to see from Hacker instead. So I think the only issue for this is that you end up in a position where Hacker can actually pick a juggler here like Dana, ban away a lot of these other picks. But top esports, we've seen them run this Senna, and we're now getting the Tahm Kench back down into that bottom lane for Zhuo. It's actually interesting to see how Tahm Kench has started to pop up in both that top lane scenario, but a little bit more in that bottom lane as well, especially when paired with things like this Senna.
I think it's been said by Lyric yesterday, he prefers the top lane, solo lane, Tahm Kench, which makes a lot of sense, but this not too bad when you have a Senna, when you have a Tahm, slow down the mobility. But importantly as well, you can already steal those stats from the Tahm. Dagda, Trundle, something that has just been rising in LPL, and it's just been that little bit of a fun pick.
Yeah, I'm liking it as well, because you got that flexibility too. You can pop it into the jungle for Hacker. If you end up seeing things like the Mundo coming in for 369 or some of these other big tanks in that top lane, you end up seeing those stats, and you're able to have a good laning phase. And even if you don't get that, you still know, as you said rightly, with this Tahm Kench more than likely going bot side, that you still have this big beefcake you can steal those stats from. But we're going to be looking at the bans from Ultra Prime. They're going to start targeting Knight in this mid lane. Nice. So we already get that Lucian ban. We're getting the LeBlanc as well. Top esports on the opposite side targeting the top lane, taking away the Jace, maybe the Kennen here for ZS as well, just to give 369 a bit of an easier time when it comes to the top lane scenario.
I truly wonder if ZS would be like, okay, I'll try for the Camille, I'll try for, you know, something like the Jax as well, wouldn't be outside of his realm. I like that you bring up the Kennen. There's been a matchup that a lot of people have talked about, but instead, taking one off the mid laner.
Yeah, but the Lucian gone, it feels like top esports not really wanted to give the victor over, but ShiauC will just go back to his next most played. It has been this Orianna that's his top played, so we're just going to more than likely get that in the mid, still try and nullify a lot of this matchup and give that comfort towards ShiauC.
Okay, so ShiauC, this would be game number 7. But Dagda, he has never won with the Orianna. And to be fair, Ultra Prime haven't had many wins, but still 0 out of 6 games. Trying to make it at least 1 here before we get closer towards the end of the season. While, okay, that's a combo that's dirty with melee damage.
I am so excited to see this. So, you've got 2, as he said, melee damage dealers on the top side. You plop in that Sejuani, works perfectly. But we've got this new Irelia coming in for Knight as well. Insanely strong. So I'm crazy excited to see what this thing can do. And there's your Jax that you were talking about, Jay. Okay. This is going to be absolutely insane. I'm loving this across the board here.
Yeah. Dagda, get ready. Game 3 is meals on wheels. It's convenient. It's good. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but you appreciate the service nevertheless. Chat, we have become 70 plus here. We're in our retirement homes. And if this is going to be the last day we're alive on this earth, we're going to enjoy this one last meal. Ultra Pro vs Top Esports. Dagda, you're up. Talk to me about what these cops do.
So certainly when you look towards Ultra Prime, right, we're going to see a lot of that late game scaling. You've got a decently strong mid jungle 2v2 when it comes towards the level 6 or post level 6 operations, but they really do need to buy that time to get to that later point, because across the board you're looking at crazy scaling. When we go across towards top esports though, you've got a little bit of a stronger mid game coming through with certainly that Irelia, and also being able to pair so well, as we talked about, with these top lane early skirmishes because of the passive on this Sejuani. So I certainly expect to see top esports putting a lot of those eggs in that top side of the map basket, whereas when you're looking over at Ultra Prime, they can kind of take their pick anywhere. It's more so again Hacker trying to keep Karsa in check and allow his lanes to get to that late game portion.
Yeah, Orianna, Jax, you know, Jax is a side laner as well, always going to be potent, getting up to that point as well when he starts scaling. The Aphelios there as well, so Dagda rolling this game into a nice little piece. We didn't expect it to go all the way, but I'm glad it has with these drafts coming through. The Irelia's been talked about by so many different casters, but you and I get to revel in it. And we know, we've seen some Irelia, but alongside Karsa Sejuani, this is as good as his Zac. This plays towards the style of Karsa, what we've always known him for. You talked about the top side. I'd keep my ear open towards mid as well as we run into Summoner's Rift. As you're just going to walk me through this early laning phase, because jungle intervention seems like it is going to be important.
especially in this mid lane as well. So one of the big things about Irelia since the rework is her late game scaling is a lot better, but also just her early levels has actually become pretty strong. One of the big things is because her passive has moved from 5 to 4 stacks, she's able to stack that off the first 3 melee minions that come into the wave. She can dive onto her opponent with the Blade Surge as well, and already be fully stacked. So increased attack speed, extra magic damage on hit, and especially when you're running Conqueror, you can very quickly win the laning phase from level 1. So you have to be super careful here as ShiauC about where you're positioned, how Knight has his passive stacked, and avoiding this Irelia when she has that fully stacked passive.
So we'll look for the early laning phase, and as junglers start on opposite sides of the map. This will mean that karsa's pathing towards bottom lane, while Hacker will eventually be up towards that top side. And we'll just see how the Sejuani goes here in helping getting the stacks. We do have Vanilla Ice in both the jungle. Ice Ice Baby, if anyone didn't get that reference. And it has been a while since we've seen like a pure Sejuani versus Trundle. Dagda, I want to pull up quickly before we go more into the laning phase that Hacker has karsa to steal stats from. Zhuo there as well. Some good targets that we were talking about briefly in opening pick ban.
Yeah, Hacker's going to be big. Like, the Subjugate is going to do so much work, and especially if you end up in these scenarios where you're looking at a kind of a 3-man skirmish, you can end up getting a lot of those stats built up, because any part of the map that you go to aggress on should have somebody you can get a lot of those beefcake stats from. So I think Hacker certainly going to be a pretty big menace when it comes towards these skirmishes. It's just a case of what's the follow-up for him, right?
Yeah.
Is ZS in a spot? Oh, hang on.
Oh, actually, hang on a minute. Knight versus ShiauC. It's evolving. He's got stacks, but he flashes away for the reset here. Jumps back into ShiauC, but he won't find it. He's already burnt the summoner. Hacker with a close first blood.
So close to being able to pick up the kill there as Knight, but unfortunately not quite able to get onto ShiauC. Had that pot running, keeping himself nice and topped up. And you had Hacker there to make sure that the Irelia couldn't do any damage. And Knight will TP back into lane, but will have to stay honest until he can build up those stacks again.
Yes, he will, but a good place to start here, giving the Orianna a comfortable time, while Counter-Strike up in that top lane. ZS will trade on back, but 369 is Gwen, and Gwen likes to snip.
Yeah, and that's what we were going to touch on just before that play made is... Ooh, never mind.
There's no mini wave there. Zhuo actually going to be in a lot of trouble with damage at this point. Has the grey health to heal that one up and should be okay, but stepping a bit too far forward near the turret. The action already begins. Quite a bit of trading coming through, just like the other two games.
I mean, exactly. This has been probably the slower one that we've seen. We got to 4 minutes and only a single kill. I don't know what's going on. We'll have to ask the players, but I definitely think, again, we're going to see a lot of that action when it comes towards the top side, where we're getting to see Hacker pairing up with ShiauC and ZS. But certainly, if you end up in this scenario where you can pinpoint one person top esports, you can very quickly burst them down, like ShiauC, like ZS, and make sure you're able to take them out before the skirmish really gets up and rolling. So I'm curious to see now Hacker already doing a great job of keeping Knight in check in the mid lane. He needs to continue that momentum as he moves topside.
Well, let's see, because now in the brush, Hacker on the wait. Not spotted out. 369, a bit of trouble. Perfect pillar as well. And what do? Counter-Strike on the Jacks, trying to take on the Trundle, but Trundle, a great duelist here, and he's fully stacked up the PTA. Tries to jump around ZS, but the Jack's gonna get it. And Top Esports lose another solo laner in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Hacker is playing Game 2 and Game 3 so well in this series. Game 2, we saw him again keeping track of karsa, making sure he couldn't have an impact. Game 3 now, he's already making himself known on this map.
But karsa, meanwhile, I mean, this is a dive. Dagda holding the minion wave. Karsa's going to tank it up, doesn't care. Sets it up with the permafrost. Karsa will die, but Knight gets the laning phase for a little bit longer. It is a 1-for-1 trade, which is not as bad as it seems for Ultra Prime.
And ShiauC will just TP in, so he doesn't even lose out that much when it comes towards TS. He was already behind because of the pressure Knight has. So, honestly, not a bad spot here for ShiauC. He gets a kill for himself and managed to answer that. So, unfortunately, karsa not having that same impact that we've seen from Hacker, who's now entering back onto this bottom side. Potential here with the push mid and push bot to try and get this early dragon stack.
Ultra Prime just smurfing in these lanes for the time being. ShiauC with the double flay. That's a Gravitum on Smlz. But a root down from JackeyLove, excuse me, with the W. And trading continues to happen across the rift. Karsa spotted out in the wall on the top side, which means ZS is very aware of where the Sejuani is. And immediately Hacker makes a response moving bot.
Yeah, he gets spot on the ward though, so I think when they realize that both JackeyLove and Zhuo have backed, they'll just turn towards this dragon. Smlz might actually be able to get a play for himself, does have the chakrams available, and as you can see, he stands super close to get that buffed attack speed.
Level 6 on the Jax now. You're not seeing the jungle because Karsa's hanging outside the fog of war. ZS has Leap Strike, a minion wave coming in. I think this is a pretty hard lane to gank right now for Karsa, especially without level 6, but he's used it aggressively. And oh no, is right, Dagda ignites down. Karsa can use his Arctic Strike as he rolls on in, hit against the wall, the needlework there. ZS without summoners. Needlework doesn't connect though. Just need another flail from Karsa. They don't get it! Karsa takes another turret shot, he dies to it! That's horrible from TES. And now mid, Knight as well, death sentence in. The Vanguard's Edge means nothing.
And Ultra Prime, just like that, are sitting with 1,000 gold lead. They've outplayed top esports every step of the way so far. And they're getting the gold, they're getting these advantages. And this is what I wanted to see from Ultra Prime.
This is Ultra Prime truly being the kingmakers we talked them up to be. Top esports need this win desperately to look for that journey to secure playoffs, and Ultra Prime are not letting them have it, not free of charge at the very least, because you've got a 1k gold lead at 7 minutes in the game. Orianna with a bounty. Now for top esports to make a play onto Smlz. Zhuo has set this one up and the route is short, so he doesn't have to burn a summoner, he just walks away. And nothing being gained here by the blue-sided team.
No level 6 for Zhuo to try and devour Smlz, so he steps away, but we're going to get a replay on this top side. ZS doesn't quite connect with the Leap Strike, or sorry, not the Leap Strike, with the Counter Strike because Karsa moved away, but just on the edge there to manage to escape away from the flail. And then Ultra Prime just collapsed. They'd already picked up the dragon. They knew that you didn't have any pressure on the bot side of the map because JackeyLove and Zhuo had only just returned. So ShiauC makes a really smart play in the mid lane alongside Hacker.
That was clean. I mean, the ShiauC play was clean. The shockwave was nice. The pillar placement, beautiful. That's why Ultra Prime at the start of the split were like, this team could be a bit of a dark horse. This team could be a potential, middle of the pack runner. Now, it hasn't been the case, but this is a great game. It's through the minion wave. JackeyLove in a bit of trouble. Smlz, he has Severum. With the Calibrum ulti, JackeyLove's just down. Smlz may be traded off, but it's to Zhuo. And both ADs hitting the dirt, the favor for Smlz here as the wave looks like it's going to be held.
And in game number 2, it was top esports who were making these trades, but always trading one up. In game number 3, it's Ultra Prime that are always trading 1 for 1 or just completely getting an advantage for themselves. And you can see here, right? Karsa shows bot side, 1 for 1 trade. Ultra Prime turn towards the Rift Herald because they know nobody on top esports can try and contest this.
Taking all the early objectives. I mean, even ShiauC moving up. The wave at the bottom, perfect for Smlz to catch it. And Knight, can't walk into Fog of War with an Orianna that has Shockwave. ShiauC once again, but not going to take the death sentence over the wall, and that's a free Herald. 1k gold lead holds strong here for Ultra Prime at 9 minutes into the game, and the Herald gives you avenues to elongate this lane out. Again, talking about scaling here, Dagda. Ultra Prime definitely have themselves a composition that will want a team fight later on.
Good restraint from ShiauC on that. I wasn't sure if he's going to follow that over, but going to give top esports a bit more plays. This is where I want to, as you said, get this ball rolling. Again, it's just about keeping control of this game for Hacker, who moves top alongside Karsa.
Hacker's moving in, but Karsa there first. ZS at half HP. This is what makes it dangerous. Needlework is not available as Subjugate's already been used onto 369. But now with the push coming through here, ZS has to back away. 369 is going to get some time with his turret.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, as you said, Knight coming up, too many members on top esports, Ultra Prime back off. But even if you're losing these small little things as Ultra Prime, it doesn't matter. Your late game scaling is still better when it comes towards your side lane pressure with this Jax. Xiao's ability to influence team fights as well is higher than Knight's.
Oh, no.
Although in these skirmishes and 1v1s, Knight's still looking.
I don't know if someone told him that he's close to the solo kill world record as he gets shockwaved in. Hacker on the way as well. Pillar to the left. And a command attack's not going to be enough. It's just a bit of turret plating as Hacker shows himself.
But look, as he said, turret plates take top. Ultra Prime get these turret plates in mid. They're still trading tip for tat. And again, it's Hacker who's been at the forefront of keeping this game in check. ShiauC now actually starting to move from this bottom side. Maybe needed to keep things in order in this mid lane.
Knight teleporting back in. Dagda. You know what? This series, It's been something, and I've been reflecting on it quite a bit because I don't know what to call it. It's kind of like when, you know, let's say, guys, you're out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. I know all my references are dating, but, you know, I'm a man of love.
He's just a Chad, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Name's Jake, but, you know, close enough. As karsa's going into ZS, let's hold on this reference for now. Thanks for the Scuttle Leash, buddy, is Permafrost with the Glacial Prison, the flawless duet. And that was a flawless trade to get the top laner. That's what top esports need, Dagda. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah, the top lane skirmishes are going to be top esports' favor, and ZS hands it to them on a silver platter. They've been doing such a good job as Ultra Prime and not giving leeway, not giving anything across the top esports. But one mistake now will net those kills, net the CS lead for 369. More turret plates in that top side as well. A costly mistake for ZS.
And even the Dragons here, right? It's only 2 in the early stages. For top esports, you know, we can look at how they are with 1-2 items when these next couple of Dragons come up and how strong they're going to be. I love your map coordination here, Dagda, looking at that top lane plating, the 25 CS lead. And even Knight with a 10 CS lead in the mid lane. Even the bottom lane, I know it's not a farming Senna, but Senna's still going to be relevant. It's not like TES don't have any scaling at all. And side lane pressure seems to be the name of this early game.
And again, for Ultra Prime, like, the best way for them to try and win these fights is a 1-4... Oh, hang on.
Okay, Needlework's coming out. ZS has been ignited down. That's a flash away. But 369 doesn't have one of his own, so it'll be the next wave coming through. Hacker has to hover. ZS just got forced out of this wave. He definitely doesn't want to back again.
No, it does have the pots ticking, though. 3 stacks on the Corrupting Potion will make it a little bit easier for him as 369 backs away, knowing with how aggressive ZS is playing, there's definitely going to be some danger lurking. But I want to go back to this point. 1-4 setup as ZS eventually gets to the point where he can counteract 369 is going to be the best game plan here for Ultra Prime. Try and use the strong team fighting between Smlz and ShiauC about to carry those engages. But if top esports get control and can 1-3-1, that's where their moment to shine is.
Aphelios on turrets, dude. Name something else more iconic. I mean, he's just matched the Gwen solo turret potential in, what, 20 seconds we saw there because he had crescendo, but Vanguard's Edge makes me pause. Flash. That's from ShiauC Bao. They do get the turret plating, and the Herald's still going to get the charge here, but no first turret blood. So Ultra Prime getting some more gold onto this mid Orianna, who is surely going to have the first item quite shortly.
ShiauC Bao fishing.
Box down, but there's a Tahm Kench there. Okay, well, that's how it is. Dagda, let me return quickly. This series has been like someone proposes to you out of the blue. You know, you weren't expecting it. You're on your 2-year anniversary. Maybe it's, you know, you're at a very nice restaurant and you think, oh, I have a couple more years to wait, and then boom, it's a ring. And you're in love with the person, so of course you say yes. You just say, oh, I'm happy. This is going to be a ride, and I'm going to love every part of it. That's been this series. You know, I know there's people in our chat who are probably either married or thinking about getting married. You know, go for it. If I'm the one who encourages you to propose, please name me in your speech. Or maybe video it.
A wedding invitation.
Yeah, wedding invitation. Invite me to the wedding. You know, I wouldn't mind being invited to the wedding, to be quite honest. So, hey.
You could get an hysteric speech at your wedding. Is that not the most memorable thing ever? Come on.
No, it's definitely not. Hey, in this game, Knight's had 2 kills. I'm going to bring us back. And none of them have been solo kills. We've seen karsa come through. We have seen that, like, the kill coming through. I'm waiting for that moment when Knight ticks over for the world record. Remember, 31 kills here. He's tied with Marin in 2015 on SKT in the LCK. Knight, we're just still remembering that storyline from today, that this Irelia, if he gets a solo kill, he will lead the world. He'll have a world record. I mean, it's Olympics timing, and timing couldn't be better.
And a 5-year record at that. It's not like it's one that's just been recently broken. This has stood a 5-year test of time, and now Knight stands at the brink of being able to shatter that. But not having the best of times here in this game so far. He has 2 for 2. He's been trading with ShiauC Bao. He's been doing a good job of nullifying this lane. And one of the big mistakes that we've seen from Ultra Prime a lot has been in the mid lane for ShiauC Bao. He's struggled when it comes towards the pressure that's been put onto him, but this series, and especially in that last game, he's been doing a great job of absorbing that pressure from top esports, keeping himself safe, and we're not having this game blow open within the first few minutes of the game. Now, with that said, 369 has just got that top turret. Another Rift Herald started up here and maybe taken by top esports as Ultra Prime trade on the bottom side.
I mean, that's what it is, right? It's a trade for inner turrets at this point, and the objective included has to get the dive in, but interrupted. Zhuo caught with his pants down. And it's just been made to look a fool. First death of the game, but Ultra Primo 4 down here, Dagda. This is an inner turret that no one's responding to.
Yeah, because you can still see 369 on the top side. Karsa is up there as well. This is going to be the inhibitor turret. It's gone. It's done.
Well, you're going to get a Rift Herald towards mid, but with ZS coming down, I mean, that's a 16-minute inhibitor turret. Top Esports, they lose out in gold once again. And this second charge, it might come through, but I'm not sure if you're going to get 2 turrets for the price of the 2 big ones you lost out in the bottom lane.
They'll at least get the charge. I don't think they'll get the terror, but again, like, this is wonderful for Ultra Prime, right? Trading up when it comes towards turrets. As an actual objective right now, oh, hang on, ShiauC.
Not sure if he's caught out. Karsa's coming in. Glacial Prison connects, so it won't be a solo kill, folks, once again. But Knight doesn't hit anything. The Flash Vanguard's edge, still caught by the Shockwave. The Irelia picks up the kill, but it's way too close to call it clean as Karsa tanks up so that Knight is healthy enough. But ZS is a level 11 Jax with Counter-Strike. Knight already burnt the Flash. The Senna ulti won't save the day. And it's another shutdown given over to Ultra Prime. Karsa gets chopped down. And that's a taste of pork. Immediately, Sejuani's pig drops to the ground because top Esports are still running down. ShiauC with a flash death sentence. JackeyLove left on his lonesome. 369 Zhuo, another summoner burnt. He can escape this time around, but Senna follows through. The death sentence from ShiauC. Dagda, there's 4 people dead, and bottom is open. Take the map.
They're going straight towards the dragon. This is going to be so point now for Ultra Prime, and they're just taking over this game. This has been mistake after mistake capitalized on by Ultra Prime, and ShiauC does a wonderful job here of baiting top Esports in for so long. That is going to be the shockwave to keep them off him, and then you get the TP plays. They know, they actually spot where the rest of top Esports are with the wards they placed in that jungler earlier, which is why they fully commit to this play and are able to pick off top Esports members bit by bit. And the heads up plays across the board here, right? Hacker ditching that play earlier on so then he can actually get that flash kill onto Karsa. Then the flash forward with a great hook from ShiauC, gets one more. And ShiauC, he just doesn't miss. Round 2, ding ding, hook sentence, it's just done.
I mean, beautiful stuff here. Smlz joining the play at the last moment, and yeah, another hook. Even though in last game he took so many deaths, you have to remember that what ShiauC does for this team is beautiful with the setup. 0-0-6, 1 away from becoming Bond, and Ultra Prime, it feels like 1 moment away from picking up this final game, denying top Esports a chance to hit playoffs here today and to keep their, legacy in the question mark region. That wasn't English. Let me try again. It's a question for top Esports right now, as Ultra Prime are also on soul point. Dagda, Baron's going to be up in a minute too, and we've almost got 2 items for pretty much everyone on Ultra Prime, including this Jax, who's now got 3 kills.
And there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to be kind of sighing a relief if Ultra Prime can win this, because certainly for Invictus Gaming, LGD, JDG, it makes themselves kind of have a little bit more hope that maybe they can start to crest in towards that top 10 spot, put themselves in towards that playoff contention. And Ultra Prime, I mean, right now, there is no reason why they can't do this, right? We've just seen ZS now. He's picked up 3 kills for himself. He's working towards that Divine Sunder. It's going to make it nigh impossible then for 369 when we get to that Divine Sunder spot to really fight against ZS, especially with that exposed inhibitor in the bottom side of the map. You've already got 2 items completed here for Smlz versus the singular item for JackeyLove. You are in such a good spot here as Ultra Prime.
And just remember, as ZS might be caught out here, that the team is melee. Flash away. Permafrost not stacked up by Karsa, so they can't do anything more. I was going to say, Dagda, you're versing Gwen, Sejuani, Irelia. Counter-Strike's going to be so useful against this team. Even the Tahm Kench frontline. There's a lot to work with here if your ZS as top Esports have mid-priority. Let's see what they do with it. Because Baron's just been good.
Ultra Prime are trying to trade for Baron, but you could lose a lot of your base here, and they don't do this quite fast enough right now.
They don't, because the Orianna's not there. Shouts out Bow's in the solo lane. He's picked up the turret top side. But top Esports on the wrong side of Summoners Rift. ShiauC doesn't get the hook, but they pull off of the Baron. And top Esports get more time to think.
TP from 369 towards the mid lane. That's a big summoner spell down, especially as ZS can now threaten that inhibitor on the bottom side. So top Esports going to be spread thin across the map.
But Vanguard's edge in this choke could be massive. There's a Glacial Prison. Knight needs to get in, but doesn't choose to pull the trigger. Ultra Prime using the Orianna with a bit of movement speed, but once again, mid-priority. ZS is clearing that out for now. As top esports just go over the wall, this is frantic play.
Will buy time for Ultra Prime to back, get ZS into a position, and set up once again as this 1-4. Top esports, though, they pull the trigger on this Baron. No vision there. And with the double Divine Sunder, a Blade of the Rune King, this will be shredded.
But they need 369 in. It will be shredded, but remember, it's still Senna. I mean, at 5k, 4k, now that 369's in, it's going to be massive. Ultra Prime back away, and with that, top esports are back in the game.
Ultra Prime give them too much space. They don't respect how quickly top esports can take the objective. And now it's Ultra Prime that are left with nothing in their hands. They're trying to push in these waves, try and get some space before top esports start knocking at the front door.
I don't even know what to say about that one, Dagda. I mean, you have so much control. I don't feel like top esports in any world should have been able to pick up that Baron.
I mean, it was kind of a... Ooh, hang on.
Okay, well, maybe they're just dead. That's 369 caught out. Gwen, also immune, by the way. We talked about that last game, but still dodges away from a lot of the damage. Getting caught out there would have been the Baron power play. Nothing could have been done from top esports. So as he backs away, we reset once more, and we look at what top esports can actually do. As Knight this time around, narrowly getting out. ShiauC with his hooks, and the box already being used. That's what's making the plays for Ultra Prime.
It's delay for Ultra Prime, though. Stopping this wave being pushed in. ZS is pushing in that top side. You've already got that full push in bot. They're just stopping anyone from being able to take these turrets. Now, Karsa trying to see if he can get on towards ShiauC, as both ShiauC and ShiauC will make their way out of this bot side.
But they're caving in on this. I mean, there's no backs that's going to be here in time. ShiauC might have to teleport away. He's waiting, but the rest of the map aren't here. ShiauC going to get Abyssal Dove, and now 3 members take care of him, while in the top lane, they're trying to buy time for this Jax to hit away. ShiauC just needs to die, and someone needs to respond also to the midway. Top esports, this is not worth it. You need to get back and defend, Dagda.
ShiauC just needs to stop the back, but won't be able to with the Baron recall. Knight.
Oh my
still
god,
here.
the shockwave is buying time. He's flashed away. Dissonance there. Permafrost, Vanguard's edge. That's everything. But get back to your base.
That's 2 Nexus or inhibitor turrets now exposed in the base of top esports. A third very quickly to follow if top esports don't get back. Knight still going to be pushing on this bottom side. Dragon will be secured by Karsa, but this is a very dainty base right now that is looking exposed to Ultra Prime.
Like, the only thing they get here, at least after all of that, they'll get a turret. They'll deny the soul from Ultra Prime as well. And you look at it and you go, okay, well, it's only turrets, it's not inhibitors, it's not any Nexus turrets coming through, but Ultra Prime still have avenues with a Jax, with an Orianna in this game, so it feels like that was such a risky trade. I don't know, Dagda. I mean, good that they didn't give away soul.
Hey, I'm not the biggest fan of this, right? Because for top esports, when they're the ones that have Baron, we've seen too many errors for them not to set up correctly and actually utilize this, right? They end up getting hooked consistently by ShiauC in that bottom side, never get the waves back in order. They make some plays bot side, but they end up trading turrets for it. It's not like they're trading up, and Baron's now gone.
And they found themselves ShiauC out. He's way too far forward. Abyssal Dive makes this an easy kill. Knight's going to pick that one up. Again, folks, we're tracking those solo kills, but he doesn't have them. And that's a big one for top esports. 40 seconds on the Orianna. Baron up, or rather, just actually expiring about 15 seconds ago. So it is going to be a Baronless push, but a push nonetheless to get more gold in this game.
And at least they are now starting to get these picks, getting these plays back in their favor. And especially with the opportunity to siege, maybe they can make something happen. Karsa hooked by ShiauC.
Karsa, I'm looking for that Glacial Prison once again. Top esports pushing in the bottom lane. They don't care about another way. If Ultra Prime get caught out here, it's top esports who can end it. Because of the long death timers, because of the wave pushing in, but still dangerous nevertheless, as there's the ultimate, the Moonlight Vigil that bursts them down. Vanguard's edge into the backline from Knight. He might have to commit the Senna ulti as well, giving some time as ZS goes golden, jumping in. It's 369 instead. And now for JackeyLove to regain momentum. Ultra Prime backs against the wall as Knight jumps in once more. He's got max stack of Ionian Fervor, but he's hooked in again, a 2-man shockwave as well. Knight jumps into the back line, and GA's popped onto Smlz next. He's kind of exposed. Knight jumping in! It could have been a solo kill with how long it was left, but Smlz lives on, and Ultra Prime have 3 deaths against them.
They can still chase them down. They've got the speed up from the Orianna. Karsa's running for the hills, but at least has the Arctic Assault to keep himself moving.
He'll be quick, but Zhuo, Abyssal Dive needs to come through. Manages to get out ShiauC here as well. Zhuo trying to buy himself some space, but this Thresh, the setup playmaking, if he can get in range, is going to be huge. Luckily, Top Esports get out with 2 of their members. They break down an inhibitor turret, but no inhibitor to add pressure.
You can see how strong this combo is from Ultra Prime though, right? No Orianna for the start of this fight, but they're still able to force back the 5-man squad of Top Esports. Phenomenal Moonlight Visual coming in from Smlz. And again, when ShiauC joins this fight, watch how long he holds onto that shockwave. Smlz being peeled by ShiauC incredibly in this fight. ShiauC, the MVP, honestly, for a lot of this. But here, ShiauC holding on so long, waits to catch JackeyLove, holds the shockwave, and boom, the second JackeyLove walks in, gets the kill onto the Senna. Then again, ShiauC, his hooks, they're actually phenomenal. Like, a second Smlz is in trouble,
boom,
gets the hook, keeps Smlz alive, and now you've got Ultra Prime back in control. They're able to push out these waves, although Top Esports, they've got their mind set on top side and looking for these picks.
I mean, there's an avenue down mid. You push the wave through, and with Baron coming up in 15 seconds, that seems to be the big question because it's 1:30 until Dragon. Ultra Prime and ShiauC again, he flashes in for the hook. JackeyLove burns his own karsa, has to burn his. That's a lot of summoners down from Top Esports, but they have sustained thanks to this Senna, while Draw tanks up the front line and Hacker a bit too far forward. Karsa reignites us. That's a 369 kill, and immediately this is momentum, but Smlz is an Infernum. A Moonlight Vigil coming out, but he's frontlining. Can they kill the 80 carry? Can they kill the Jacks at this point? Look at this. Top Esports have lost 4 members. Dagda, Ultra Prime are running it down mid.
They've got the exposed base. Ultra Prime with 30-second death timers. They can end the game. I think they've done it, Hysterics.
They took so much from that last play and eventually the lives. Ultra Prime denying Top Esports from having the chance of hitting playoffs today, from getting their safety net. Top Esports will stay on 8 wins. And Ultra Prime, they may be out, but they're definitely not forgotten after this performance.
What a series from Ultra Prime after the stomp of game 1 to be able to come back, right yourself, play an incredibly close game number 2, another close game in game number 3, and being able to take down Top Esports with some amazing fights, superior performances from ShiauC, from ShiauC, from Smlz, and Hacker tracking karsa throughout.
8-6 for Top Esports, but for Ultra Prime, you know, they're going to get their 4th win here. That's a big deal. Kind of sets them up as a team that, you know, we look forward to next split. We want to see how good their performance is this split because we're rounding it out. We're getting to that point where we're hitting the end of the split, guys. We only have a week and a day left remaining. And Ultra Prime here showcasing the goods. I mean, this was a nice little performance in game 2 and 3. And I have to say, Dagda, I mean, ShiauC all game long on this Thresh once again. This needs to be an MVP in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, ShiauC and Thresh are just the combo, right? This guy looks unstoppable on it, which is why we saw so many respect bans towards it. Not only this split, last split, 2020 as well. But I think this isn't just a case of, hey, you know, one individual performance. This was Ultra Prime as a whole stepping up. I thought Hacker was phenomenal. The fact that he tracked karsa throughout both game 2 and game 3, keeping karsa in check, making sure that he couldn't actually get these advantages, trading up consistently. ShiauC as well, absorbing so much of the pressure in this game, not actually dying tonight, getting the counter kill as well. Like, this was incredible across the board from Ultra Prime.
It was. I mean, from the early Orianna, the play towards mid, to the team fighting we saw, all a downhill slope for Top Esports. The gold lead is wavering a little bit there, but there was no point in that game where Top Esports were firmly in control. And
it really felt that anytime they tried to take control of this game, there was just no foothold, right? We talked about 369 Knight working with karsa to make these early plays happen. Well, they'd already lost out consistently on that bottom side, so they never got that first Rift Herald. They never got to solidify these big advantages. 369 was super far ahead, but we just never really got to see Top Esports playing through him, trying to set themselves up. Instead, it was trying to respond to Ultra Prime, who had gotten 2 towers and an inhibitor turret on that bottom side before the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, opening up the base for the cost of 2 kills. I mean, it gave a lot of avenues there, and we saw the game-ending push as well. Didn't give any time for Top Esports to respawn. I think the biggest thing for me there is that Top Esports, you know, with a lot of these plays, like JackeyLove for Game 2 and Game 3, didn't really have a great performance. Karsa was a bit hit and miss on this Sejuani. Had some good picks, but it wasn't anything like the Zac game we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I don't really blame Karsa for that, right? He was trying consistently to make these plays. Fortunately, they went that bit too far forward. Knight dies in the first one. They try to make the play on bot side. Ultra Prime respond incredibly well, and it felt like every time he was going to a place in the map, Ultra Prime had already visited, they'd wiped all the goods, they'd taken all the gold, and there was just nothing left for him to plunder. So I think especially in this game, Ultra Prime stepping up massively, and this wasn't like it was a terrible performance from Top Esports. It's just Ultra Prime are a better team for game number 2 and 3.
That's right. ShiauC picking up MVP as well. Again, well-deserved second Thresh game in a row. ShiauC had so much hit potential there. First MVP is surprising for me, but it's kind of going to show you that Smlz has been the one we've talked about the most. Hacker's in there as well. ShiauC is the person who we first saw on E-Star, and I'm glad that he gets recognition after this game. Looked very close at, you know, the early points.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the early game, a little bit quiet, but certainly you can see in this play, right, just how good he is on this Thresh. Constantly thinking about, hey, look, what's the next point? Where do I need to be moving next? So throws the Lantern here to hold on for the hook if any more members of Top Esports come in. This means that at this stage here, he's got this flash hook potential, which he just nails JackeyLove with, predicts the movement from JackeyLove, sets up the play. And then the follow-up here again, he's just like, cool, ZS, you've got JackeyLove. I'm just going to move forward here and make sure that we can pick up the next kill onto Zhuo as well.
Well, another hook to finish off Dagda. Nice highlight reel for ShiauC. And a good game ender here for Ultra Prime. Folks, remember again, we're in Shanghai. There's no delay on the next series, and that's why, you know, we get to explore this one. We get to enjoy this one a little bit more as we round this out. This was big for Top Esports, Dagda, because now they sit on 8 wins. Today, if JDG lose, they can only hit 8. The threshold into playoffs will be 9, but Top Esports will not secure today. That's a very big deal. They can still hit 10, and we still expect them to be in playoffs, but I'm looking at their schedule. OMG WE, they're not free wins. They are not free wins, and if Top Esports, you know, are like this, then I would say that they're in a little bit of danger.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is going to be now a bit of a worrying trend for them, because I mean, we talk about them, hey, look, you know, they have these messy games, they don't really end up coming out in their full form until playoffs. Well, this didn't really feel like Top Esports weren't trying. This felt like they were really pushed to the limit, and they broke. They broke
indeed, as we do have an interview standing by. Couldn't quite hear who that was, I apologize, but Wendy is standing by for a quick interview.